Hey people, welcome to the Run Testers. It's Kieran here, and in this video we're going to be comparing these. This is the Adidas Adistar and the On Cloudmonster, both high-stacked maximalist super cushion shoes. In this video we're going to be telling you which one of these is best. So let's start with some all-important details for comparison. Then on price, the Adidas Adistar is going to cost £120 in the UK, $130 in the US. The Cloudmonster is a little pricier at £150 or $159.99 in the US. When it comes to weight, the Cloudmonster weighs 230 grams or 8.1 ounces in the women's, 275 grams or 9.7 ounces in the men's. That's lighter than the Adidas Adistar that comes in at 320 grams or 11.2 ounces in the men's, 283 grams or 10 ounces in the women's. Both shoes have a 6mm drop.
So in terms of the fit, both shoes were true to size for me. The On has a very nice snug fit with a very comfortable upper. And the same is actually true of the Adidas, which has this massive bulbous tongue, which I don't really mind, but I think it probably could run a little bit warm in the summer as a result of kind of the extra padding on top compared to the On.
When it comes to fit, I've run true to size in both of these shoes, and I would recommend that, unless with the Adistar, they are a little bit sort of more foot hugging, potentially a little bit narrow. So if you've got wide feet, I think you might need a little bit more room in those. They are definitely less spacious than the On Cloudmonster. On Cloudmonster a bit looser fitting, a bit more airy in the toe box, whereas the Adistar are definitely sort of really quite sort of tight, hugging across the top of the toes into the toe box. So yeah, fit Adistar, maybe you want to go half a size up if you've got bigger, wider feet. And in terms of how they run, well, I've got both of these shoes on right now and running them. I like to do like a mile or so wearing one shoe on either foot, just to get that real-time kind of comparison of how the shoes stack up. And the Cloudmonster is noticeably softer than the Adistar by a long chalk. The Adistar comes up really firm by comparison. That's kind of saying something for people who tend to say that On shoes are firm. And the Cloudmonster aren't a super soft shoe by any comparison to other shoes. So both of these running a little bit firm. The Adistar definitely running a bit firmer. Overall, in the kind of foot feel, there's much more room, much lighter, much more airy. I feel a lot less kind of weight on the foot, a lot more freedom of the foot with the Cloudmonster than I do with the Adistar. The Adistar is a little bit more claustrophobic. It kind of wraps and holds the foot. There's less space actually inside the shoe, and I think that kind of potentially will lead to a bit more warmth than you'd get over longer distances than you will do in the Cloudmonster. The mesh upper is sort of a lot more flexible, a lot less dense, and I think that's kind of, I definitely prefer that. So I think overall in foot feel, I think the Cloudmonster wins it. I think if you're looking for something a bit more cushioned, and there seems to be a little bit more energy coming out of the Cloudmonster too as well. It's more one of those shoes that you do, compared to the Adistar at least, it's more one of those shoes that when you drop you feel the midsole compress and then go again. Whereas the Adistar is a very sort of firm ride, where you're kind of really relying, I think, on the rocker of the Adistar to actually get that kind of forward propulsion. Now I do think you get that from the Adistar, and I think actually the Adistar is actually quite a good shoe just to clip along in. But again, overall I think on the under sort of foot feel, the rolling, the kind of the rebound and propulsion, all of that kind of stuff, I think I probably prefer the Cloudmonster. You're getting a little bit more here from this shoe. So the other thing to compare here, there's definitely a wider base on the Adistar, and you notice that. So it does create a little bit more of a stable platform than you're getting with the Cloudmonster, particularly when you kind of put that in conjunction with that kind of slightly softer foam that you're having here. Overall, the Adistar just feels a little bit more kind of stable and less wobbly, but I think you're paying for that with no kind of actual kind of rebound necessarily from the Adistar.
So the Adistar was the first of the two shoes I tested, and it was a real surprise. I didn't have high hopes when I saw it and kind of felt it and weighed it. It's a big, bulky shoe. It's not normally the kind of thing I love to run in, but yeah, it surprised me from the first step I ran in it. It's got a really lovely, smooth ride. Even though the foam is quite firm on the shoe, especially at the heel, it's got such a nice kind of smooth rocker that you don't really feel it so much, and you've got this kind of bucket seat design that really makes for quite a comfortable, stable and very smooth ride. I use it mostly for kind of long runs on the tarmac. I also actually, one thing I noticed with it is when you're on kind of broken up tarmac, if there's potholes or cracks in the surface, or you're on, slight trails, you lose a lot of that kind of rocker. It doesn't feel so smooth on the foot. So I think it's worth sticking to fairly flat tarmac overall. It's not really a shoe built for speed, obviously. I did take it to the track just for a bit of fun. I was doing 400s at 75 seconds pace in kind of 4 sets of 5, and I did 1 set of them in the Adistar, and it was an interesting experience, but I did ran them fine, and I have taken it up to some quite fast speeds at the end of long runs where I'm progressing through the gears, but obviously it really is best saved for those kind of slow recovery plods, anything quite long as well, and does a really good job by offering a smooth ride. Now, in contrast, the Monster, which has this crazy name and this big stack, actually didn't really offer much of a surprise on the foot. It felt like a lot of On shoes, but it is softer than them. It is, it's still got that slight firm edge to it. All On shoes do because of the kind of cushioning that they use, and it is a nice protective ride that I did enjoy using for easy stuff. I really didn't like using the Monster for anything beyond easy stuff. I did a couple of progression runs in it, and moving at fast speeds just didn't seem to really work for me, even though this is a lot lighter than the Adistar is. And it's got that quite firm ride of a speed board. You thought it could be quite versatile, but actually, I didn't really like using it at kind of anything above very easy paces. There's not really a pronounced rocker here. You do get a fairly efficient ride, I think. I think when you're running easy paces, I often found that, if I'm using heart rate as my main guide, and then I see my pace, at the end of a lap, at the end of a run, it's a bit higher than I expected, just because I think it's got quite a nice ride, and it is reasonably light for a cushion shoe, but it didn't really seem to have that versatility. When I tried to push harder in the shoe, it really is better built for kind of those easy miles. I think both shoes have a pretty stable ride. I will say that for high stack shoes, for max stack shoes, very different to something like the Nike Invincible or something like that, very soft and squishy. So that's a plus point to both. I think of the two, probably the Adistar has a slightly more stable feeling just because it is such a wide base and you do sit so deep in that bucket seat. So I think these are both pretty solid max cushion shoes for people who don't want a very, very soft and squishy or bouncy ride. If you want, the slightly more traditional feeling, that kind of firmer ride, then you've got a couple of nice options here that are both reasonably stable. The On is the lighter shoe, and I think it's probably the slightly softer shoe, just because it hasn't got so much rock, so you do sink into the foam a little bit more. But the Adistar has a ride I prefer personally, with that kind of really smooth rocker it has on there. Like, it really, that action takes away the heft of the shoe entirely. Although it is the heavier shoe, it doesn't really feel it. It almost feels a bit quicker when you're going for it on the foot than the On, just because it has a very smooth ride that works very well for me. I found it really easy to get into a rhythm with the Adistar, which again was surprising because it just looked like such a big blocky shoe. But that said, neither are actually very good, obviously, for fast running. They're both nice, comfy shoes. I'd say the On has a little edge in it's a much more normal and better looking shoe, so you can use it for, when you're not running as well. I don't know, maybe it is kind of in fashion right now, but I wouldn't be strolling around town in the Adistar myself. But the Adistar also is a fair bit cheaper than the On. So yeah, of the two, I would be going for the Adistar just because, for easy runs, it doesn't really matter that it's that heavy. And like I say, the smooth ride takes away the heaviness and it's a bit cheaper. And I think it's basically going to last forever. I don't think the On shoe's not going to be durable, but yeah, I couldn't say for sure on that front really, whereas I do think the Adistar is built, to last a good long time.
So my verdict then on the Cloudmonster versus the Adistar, well, I think overall my preference is for the Cloudmonster. I think it's lighter. I think you're getting a lot more kind of rebound and energy from the shoe. There's a bit more cushioning, and I'm saying that even though I really like a firm ride, but the Adistar, in comparison to this, for those kind of slow, easy runs, I think it's just a bit firmer, gives you a little bit less kind of protection. I think most people are going to like the slightly softer run of the Cloudmonster. The other thing to consider here though is that they do a similar job. They both, I think, do sort of solid performance shoes at those slow, easy runs without being kind of remarkable. There may well be better options out there, but the other thing to sort of consider here is that you can now pick the Adistar up from certain places in the UK for £85, retail price 120. The Cloudmonster is going to set you back 150, I think, so it's much more expensive. And yeah, that might be a consideration if you're just looking for a first sort of entry shoe to go and plod easy in. I think the Adistar will do a job. If you want a little bit more cushioning and softness and a sort of slightly better all around kind of upper feel, lightweight agile shoe, then I think go for the Cloudmonster. That's the one that I would be picking out of these two to put in my rotation to do my nice, easy, long runs. So there you have it. That is our comparison of the On Cloudmonster and the Adidas Adistar, both kind of super high cushion shoes. Very different rides, really. Hope it's been useful. Hope you've enjoyed it. If you have any questions about these shoes, feel free to hit us up in the comments. Don't forget to kind of hit like and subscribe to see our other reviews on this channel. Go and check them out. We've done individual reviews of the Cloudmonster and of the Adistar as well, so there's more detail on both those shoes there. Check out our best cushion shoes as well if you're looking for alternative options, and you'll find the ones that we really highly recommend. But yeah, thanks for watching. It's been a pleasure as always, and we'll see you again soon on the Run Testers.